So one of the things I thought I'd do today was start a painting on something, I don't know what, but an interesting point to note about the canvas that I'm going to use, which is this canvas here. This was the canvas that I used in my video called, I think it was called Minimalism in Art, and this is the canvas that had the paint that I used to create the painting called Painting in Blue with the dot on it. And this canvas I also used in a video before that, which was called Blank Canvas. And as you can see, it looks like it's just a double-sided white canvas, but in actual fact what I've done is on the back of this canvas I've just stuck a piece of paper here. It was actually on this that I did the Painting in Blue sketch. There you can see, that's all that remains of Painting in Blue, my minimalist work that I spent hours and hours to create. So that's something, a little anecdote. You can see it's just a normal canvas, nothing on it. Needs a bit of a dust down because it's been sitting in my studio, sort of being rested on benches and stuff, picking up dust here and there, but that's that. Some people have actually asked me if they could buy Painting in Blue, which is quite a surprise to me. I mean, why anybody would want to own such a picture is beyond me. But and this version, this isn't actually the version that you see in the video, because Painting in Blue was just a spot, and if you look at that closely you can see I've actually wiped off the excess paint, and now it's a bit of a swoosh mark, which is actually what I was trying to do in the first place. It wasn't meant to be a spot, it was meant to be a swoosh, but because I'm not much of a painter I didn't really get it right, and it turned out to be a spot. So that's that. Yeah, so I need some masking tape, which I've got to be really careful because I've actually got this microphone here hooked up to my laptop, which is just down sort of that way, so it's a bit like being on a dog leash. I can only move so far. So I've got my canvas here, and the first thing I usually do with any canvas is put masking tape around the edges. And the reason why I do that is because I find if I have edges, like actual edges of the canvas, and I paint right up to them, I usually end up distorting the picture somewhat, and the sides kind of affect my picture, especially if I have to do, say, a curve that goes round right to the edge. Whereas if I paint just inside the edge and be limited by the masking tape, I can still go right off the edge and not have my curves affected as such, and I can just sort of keep in mind how important whatever it is that's gone off the edge is, and whether it matters if it in the final picture that's no longer there, because obviously when I'm finished I take the masking tape off, and that sort of gets rid of any edges that were, or any of the painting that actually went up onto the masking tape. But on the plus side of that is you get a nice crisp edge to your picture, and it really sort of adds to that feeling of having finished an artwork when you take the masking tape off, because it does make such a dramatic final change to the picture, bringing it back to a sharp and crisp sort of edge like that. And the other reason I put the masking tape on was when I used to get my works framed, all frames tend to overlap the picture a little bit if you go right up to the edge of a canvas, and sometimes I found that important bits of artworks would be covered by the frame, and so doing this prevents that from happening, and you get a nice border around the picture that sort of separates it just a little bit from the frame. So that was the other reason why I did it. So there we go, that's all I do to set up canvases. I don't make my own canvases because, quite frankly, I don't see the point when you can buy perfectly good canvases for a reasonable price, and you don't have to waste time putting them together. You can just focus yourself on actually creating the art. So there we go, canvas prepared, and let's move on to doing something else.